when you least expect it.
I forget what goes with that. It's a Monty Python?
No one expects the Spanish
Inquisition?
repetition.
Inquisition?
No, that's just when you least expect it isn't part of that.
Oh.
In other news, Joe shot some wonderful video of the scenery around our home today.
Yes, I did.
And that will appear as we are speaking. But then, I, coincidentally, I guess, or maybe it was some kind of a, universal manipulation of fate. Suddenly, I got to look at the map that shows the possible routing of the high-speed rail project, and it turns out, surprise, surprise, shock to me, the way they've drawn it is kind of amorphous. It's not like a specific location. They just show swaths on the map. Maybe those swaths are 50 kilometers wide, but one of those swaths that's 50 kilometers wide, or probably less, comes right into our immediate vicinity. Like, what the heck?
So the Serenity that I was filming will be no longer.
Well, the way that this map shows it, it could literally be right along, it's not specified, but it could be damn close to us in one possible reality. If you think about like the multiverse, one of the many multiverses, we get one right by our house, because there's a big chunk of land behind us that's just forest. They could just chop it all down and run a rail through it, and we'd have a high-speed rail right next door. Anyway, I didn't realize that we were even close to a possible high-speed rail path. Until I was shocked when I looked at the map and saw that.
Do people want this? Is this something that you would want?
Well, this is what I've been kind of digging into and researching and asking questions from people. And I also tried to find the business case that explained why this would be necessary. And it doesn't seem to take into account the reality of today and the values of today with respect to, we'll just rip up another area of wilderness and attempt to do something which may or may not be the right answer. Because this has happened before with highways, most highways get used, but it's like the planning isn't there. So they build it and they go, that wasn't enough, let's build some more, Or in the case of a few airports, the land has been expropriated and then something got built or didn't get built after disrupting a bunch of citizens' lives. And in one case, there was an airport built completely and it just never got used because no one wanted to go that far. That was the, what's that one called?
Mirabel?
Was it Mirabel? No, maybe. The one that's...
Near Montreal.
Yeah. Is that Mirabel? Maybe it was. Why should I not remember that? Anyway, the airport that was too far from Montreal for it to be a going concern. Now they've given the land back to the farmers they took it from, for example. But it was a huge disruption and a huge waste of money. And anyway.
Okay, I have a question, though. If, let's say, they were building a road from Ottawa to here,
Mm-hmm.
and it came near us,
Mm-hmm.
but you wanted that road. I mean, it has to go through some wilderness at some point.
Well, except here's the thing. This was, when you look at some of the building of these roads way back when, they were, not highways for cars. They were, I don't know what they would be. Horse and wagon roads, maybe? But anyway, over time, yes, some of those solidified into being highways. And then, as I wrote to the Minister of Transport earlier today, there seems to have been a lack of wisdom and foresight into looking into the future as opposed to solving an immediate need. When you solve an immediate need, it's really easy for a year later for someone to go, well, that didn't work, we need to do something else. And then they might do an immediate need attempt to solve, and then again and again. So it's a mess because no one's looked far enough ahead. Anyway, so that's what this rail project, when I started looking at it, looks like. They're maybe casting about trying to implement a solution that isn't needed, or maybe there's something needed, but the way they're going to go about doing it may not. I mean, if you make half the people unhappy while making the other half happy, you haven't solved it, in my opinion. You haven't provided a solution. You got to find something that everybody's happy with, in my opinion, or it's destined to fail by
50%.
a variety of reasons. Because if a bunch of people are unhappy, you didn't succeed, and there'll be fallout of various kinds that'll further erode the success that does appear to happen. So, I mean, people refuse, for example, oh, I have to drive an hour to get on this train? Well, I'm not doing that. I'll just stay in my car.
What's wrong with the train that's already there?
Well, the Via Rail service is not very reliable, and it takes a long time to get where you want to go. One thing I read was somebody describing it would be far better to build a second track next to the current track and have the existing slow train service be reliable and consistent, because it would actually be faster, because the second track would allow the trains to continue without stopping to wait for some other train to come by. Sometimes the Via passenger service ends up parked on the side of the tracks while the business, industrial freight trains go by. So if you had extra track, that would not happen. Therefore, your service would improve. Anyway, it seems like at this point for me, like somebody says, oh, high-speed rail, it's the way to go. So they got a solution, but they haven't looked ahead far enough to see, like, okay, but can we actually do this? Can we actually implement it, given all the communities who will be inconvenienced? Like a high-speed rail that comes through, let's say it came through our backyard, so to speak, that means we would not be able to use the road we use to get to major highways, because you can't cross over a high-speed rail. There's no crossings. So then they got to build either an overpass or an underpass, which is extra expensive, whatever. And are they going to build that while they're building the high-speed rail? No. So the road's going to be blocked anyway. It's just looks horrible. To me, it looks like they haven't really thought this through. It's an idea and concept, and now they're trying to push it out and ask people to give their opinions and preferences and whatever about their potential plans. And it just, all the stuff I'm seeing is largely very annoyed, not happy, incensed, highly resistant, that kind of reaction.
That's it. Do you feel like you've had your say now?
Well, I'm kind of, yeah, I guess so. I'm kind of boggled mentally that.
You do. This is your chance to wrap up, because we're going to run out of steam here.
Gonna run out of steam.